Gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Noodle Time, episode 165. I am your host, Mark Segovia, alongside OSG. What's going on, OSG?
What's up, bro? What's up, bro? Ready to do this? Been a minute. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Yeah, for sure. Happy holidays to all you guys. Appreciate everybody checking it out. For those who check it out later on the stream, thank you for this continued support. Happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Make sure you do it with the loved ones and those closest to you, and all that good stuff. But we're gonna celebrate the ending of 2025 by going over a little bit of off-season news that the Dynamo have done up to date news. Obviously, we're hoping it turns out to be more than just this. Obviously, but I mean, but a lot has happened, and we were talking offline on the chat. Maybe we should run some noodles for the guys one more time before the end of 2025, and why not? I love doing this. I love having you guys with me, especially you, OSG, and obviously I love the guys in the chat and everybody who watches us on YouTube and whatever other platform that you use to watch or hear us. So I mean, we're all Dynamo fans here, and we're all anxiously awaiting to see what happens this offseason. Obviously, coming off a disappointing 2025 season and going into a 2026 season where we're hoping to rebound from the failures of last season and progress and maybe be a MLS Cup contender. I don't know, upper echelon, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But
Hopefully.
but just better than last year, right? And hopefully playoff bound. But speaking of playoffs,
Mark, we're turning
obviously
21 this year. Turning 21. Fuck the
we are
20
turning
year
21 this year.
celebration.
It's an important age, 21. But speaking of playoffs, obviously we all know we missed the playoffs last year. And with that, unfortunately, comes the conclusion of our participation in next year's Leagues Cup. Obviously, the top 18 teams in MLS, which basically means the 18 teams that qualify for the playoffs, will go against the 18 teams in the first division of Liga MX, and their new installment of it, which was introduced last year. Um, just your thoughts, man. I mean, obviously, for me personally, before I let you answer the question, I mean, anytime you get an opportunity to lift a trophy to win some money at the end, I think it's a great opportunity for a club of any stature. Obviously, I'm a little bit disappointed at the fact that we didn't make the playoffs last year with so many opportunities to make the playoffs. And obviously, the fact that I know a lot of people don't really care too much for this Leagues Cup, but at the end of the day, it is a payout. There are three spots available to qualify for the Champions Cup, and it's a missed opportunity for the Dynamo. But your thoughts on the Leagues Cup and the Dynamo not being included in it?
Playoffs was a bust. We should have been in the playoffs. We could have been in the playoffs and just spelled it injuries, whatever. That's the backstory. We did that episode a couple times ago. Leagues Cup, man, like great. The schedule is infatuated, but I'm okay with Leagues Cup. I like Leagues Cup. I like playing Mexico. I like playing those teams. I enjoy the competition. I think it's a good competition. It can be incorporated better, maybe. And that's probably for a whole nother episode, but I enjoy it. And I kind of wish we were still in it and available for Opens Cup. But I guess now you're being selected by one or the other, depending on how you finish in the standings now.
Which
Whatever.
will,
I'm gonna miss it.
yeah, I mean, and obviously, obviously, we'll still be in the U.S. Open Cup, and obviously, the winner of that competition gets lifts a trophy and gets a spot in the Champions Cup. But the great thing about this Leagues Cup, and I think that the people who call it a money grab tournament or whatever or whatever this and that. I mean, obviously the tournament's only been around for what 3-4 years. Um, they've come out with different iterations of it. I think this version is the best version of it. Obviously Liga MX it's a smaller first division than MLS. So it's only right for the top 18 teams of MLS, which obviously coincidentally are the playoff teams, to go against the 18 teams in the first division of Liga MX. But you know,
Right.
but it's a goal to strive for. I mean that you know, if you're not consistently good and you're not consistently fighting for playoffs, you're going to lose out on opportunities to give yourself to compete for Champions Cup. You know, because realistically, when you add the Leagues Cup to it, it's realistically five opportunities. You know, as far as you know, what well, six opportunities. Whether you're a Supporter Shield winner, MLS Cup champion,
Right.
US Open Cup champion, or you place in one of the top three spots in Leagues Cup. That's six opportunities right there. You know, that are given to you if you're a club that has ambitions of having a winning culture and making the playoffs year in and year out. So, you know, it's sad, but obviously, like I said, I like the League's Cup. I like to see the matchups against Liga MX clubs and to see where we stack up against them. You know, and I think we have a lot of great competition against them. You know, and obviously it's just a different change of pace when we face the Liga MX clubs because obviously depending on who falls in that group, our home might not necessarily be a home field advantage. You know, so it's sometimes a little crazy like that, but
It's
it is
fun
what it
like that.
is.
And we get to gripe about the attendance being vice versa when we're at home. Yeah.
This is true. This is true. But you know, obviously, it is what it is. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I just wanted to mention it because it did come out that you know, obviously, officially. But I think it was kind of one of those things that obviously we could have seen coming a mile away when it went to the 18 versus the 18 format. That it would be the 18 playoff teams going against the 18 Liga MX teams. But you know, it is what it is. But you know, congratulations to those playoffs teams, and obviously Dynamo. Hopefully, we make a long run in the U.S. Open Cup, and hopefully, we do something great to garner a spot in the next year's Champions Cup or whatever. But with that being said, we're talking about Dynamo offseason, man. A lot of things happened today. Um,
A lot.
a lot has happened today. Not necessarily the big splashes that we were hoping for, but you know, obviously the little mechanisms that are available in MLS to better improve your quality of depth, better improve your developmental team, which in our case is Dynamo
Mhm.
Dos, to bring in other players, to bring in players from other programs from across the world. I mean, from across the country, as far as you know, from the college ranks. MLS Super Draft was done today. We had five players come in today, five new players, and we traded up into the first round for pick number 11th. And OSG, I think you want to give us a little bit of a summary on that pick and what that trade consisted of.
Yeah, man. So we didn't have a first round pick to begin with, so there wasn't no excitement about today and getting a high caliber potential player. But we did trade up with San Jose to the 11th pick, giving them 75,000 this year and 75,000 next year to move up to the 11th pick. And then we took Joe Highfield, who's a striker out of the University of Portland, who is a monster of a beast of a dude, 6'4", 6'4", 18 goals and 8 assists this year for the University of
Wow.
Portland. A big guy, big guy. Now, can he make the first team? We'll yet to see. But he's got the potential to do it. And the other four picks were, expected dose picks is what we're looking at. But five picks today in the super draft. But the one to highlight is Joe Highfield, who we moved up to 11th pick. Could be, need striker help, need a body, need somebody to receive those crosses when they're coming. So Joe Highfield, look at him. Big boy, too. Big boy. Be ready for him. But looking forward to it. That's the super draft. Joe Highfield.
A name for the future, or hopefully the more closer future than the more further future, I guess. We'll see. I mean, yeah, I mean, like as far as physique and style wise, obviously your traditional number nine, a big body that can bully those defenders inside the box and hold the ball up and then obviously hopefully
8
score goals.
assists as well for a striker. 18 goals, which is a lot for college. and 8 assists, which is also a lot for a striker. I mean, he had an immaculate season. How he finished as far as like collegiate player of the year, I don't know. I should have done my damn research on that one, but the stats are stouted and stacked with this guy. So look forward to him. Let's see what he can do, and he'll most likely be at Dose. But y'all that go to Dose, a lot of y'all go to Dose. A lot of your listeners go to Dose. Look forward to this guy. Be ready. It's not Thor. Bigger than Thor.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Pat and Asher in the front office saw enough in this kid to invest 150,000 in GAM. 75 this year and 75 next year to trade back into the first round and grab him. What's up, G Money? What's up, Giuseppe? Appreciate you checking in, my guy. So I mean, obviously they saw something in this kid that they really like that might fit Ben Olsen's system and whatever he brings. Hopefully, like I said, they're able to develop and able to bring into the first team. And yeah, like I said, the super draft obviously has been a lot of miss. It hasn't been like, like in the early iterations of the Dynamo history where we were, selecting Will Bruins and Jeff Camerons and players of those calibers that actually ended up, representing their national teams and being big players for the Dynamo and Dynamo history. So it's a little bit of ways from those type of players coming out of college, but that's what you're hoping
Right.
for. You're hoping to hit that needle in the haystack, and hopefully Pat Nasher saw something in him that that obviously tempted them to go up here and grab him, and they're able to develop that into the highest of potentials that he has. So we'll see what happens with that kid. But shout out to him and shout out to the other four. Obviously, a new opportunity for those kids to come in and start their professional careers as soccer players, and that's a dream in itself for all these four kids to have the opportunity to compete. And that's all you ever want in life is an opportunity to compete. So good luck to those guys. But let's talk about the moves that happened yesterday.
Well, hold on.
Obviously,
You mentioned a busy day in the super draft as well, but we also had a couple of homegrown signings to go on top of it as
oh, there
well.
we go. Yeah, yeah, there we go. If we had, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
wanted
go.
to mention real quick. We added another goalkeeper, so yes, we have 4 or 5 goalkeepers on the list. But homegrown, Logan Erb out of Humble, played for NC State, doing a good job. Had a great season for NC State, ACC goalkeeper of the year, and then we a defender, Reggie Miller, out of Missouri City. Everybody knows where Missouri City is. Everybody knows where Humble is. Virginia defender. Looking forward to seeing these players. They're homegrown, played college, coming home. So we'll see what they can do for those potential players again. So
Yeah.
building up those kids finally.
Yeah, I mean, look, you that's the whole purpose of MLS Next is to bring unproven, I guess, hidden gems. You would hope to that program and hopefully develop them, and they're able to develop it to the type of player that you're looking for to be able to bring them into the first team. I mean, obviously last season we had a number of kids that were able to make their first team debuts with the Dynamo last season from Dynamo. So I mean, we're hoping to continue that this next season, and hopefully they're able to contribute a lot, because obviously, regardless if we're looking to have a lot of veteran help on the squad. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. U.S. Open Cup, MLS, and then obviously, just a bunch of stuff that goes up, and then injuries or players that need rest, and sometimes we need to rely on the youth, you know a lot of clubs, especially the top echelon clubs in the league, like Seattle, or obviously Seattle's like the blueprint of everybody, right? That rely a lot on their youngsters, and you see those kids grow, and sometimes they're able to grow and be part of a huge part of the first team, and then they get transferred out. So that's what we're looking for,
Mhm.
and that's what the club is looking for, obviously, to be sustainable and to be able to compete. So that way they don't have to spend so much money on the depth and like fat of the club, so that way they can hopefully invest more as far as the topper echelon of the players and bring a higher caliber of player. Oh, is you
Right.
gonna say
We at Dose, we follow who we play against and who our rivals are. And like Tacoma is one of our rivals. And they're there every single year, and Tacoma's just got a base that feeds into their Tacoma. I think it's Portland or Seattle. I forget which one it is, but you mentioned Seattle, just the farm, and that's what Pat has been trying to do. Granted, you want him to do the first team first, but he's doing more than one, and finally growing those kids and giving us some potentials there, something to keep an eye on and to look forward to, and that's what we do here on Foxtrot. We do keep an eye on those kids on dose, so you don't get surprised by them when they shoot up to the first team on you. Muted. Are you muted?
My bad, my bad, my bad. That's my bad. Sorry about sorry about that, guys. Um, you were mentioning obviously the kids being from Houston, Houston area born kids, whatever, and obviously Pat has mentioned that it would be nice for the Dynamo to have a Houston native or a surrounding Houston area player that plays a major role in the Dynamo. Maybe somebody like how a couple of years back we had Memo Rodriguez and things of that nature, but obviously we haven't had much luck with the homegrowns. But speaking of homegrowns, one of our favorites from last year who increased his game from year 2 to year 3, Brooklyn Rhymes, is on the way out. As reported yesterday per Tom Bogert, he is going to New England Revolution for at a fee of 1.4 million with plus 600K add-ons, incentives to add on to it. Uh, Strong opinions. What's going on, my guy? What's going on, Jeff? Good evening. Good evening. He is moving on to New England, and one of those new mechanisms that MLS incorporated last year that helped us get Jack McGlynn. This year, we're using that mechanism to sell one of our young up and coming youngsters to a MLS club. In this case, they being New England Revolution. Your thoughts on Brooklyn and throughout the years, and obviously his growth, and do you think we got a fair deal, and are you going to miss him?
Got a very good deal. Greatly going to miss him. Look forward to having this kid on the team for as much as we're going to keep him. Hoping to sign him to an extension. His contract was going to be up next after this season. Hoping to sign him to an extension like we did McGlynn. We signed McGlynn to extension and expecting to sell. I was hoping to do the same with Reigns and utilize him. I think there's other plans obviously going on, but New England might have made just an offer that Houston can't refuse. As you mentioned, how much? $2 million for an in-house trade with 1 year left on the contract. I think you made enough for what you're going to sell him for and sell on and all that blah blah blah, and just the luck and the hope and what you paid for him to give him that extension. So this is a win-win. Opens up room, opens up doors. We have somebody potentially coming in to fill that spot already. You have Sasu. I'm butchering his damn name. That was added to the team at the end of the season last year and maybe played partially a couple games, but he's someone who'll be a backup CDM as well, who looked all right. But we have somebody else possibly coming in. But man, I'm gonna miss Reigns, but wish him the best in New England, and hopefully he's only there for a year and he's off to Europe, and we don't have to worry about him. Thankfully, we only had to see him once next season,
Samaseco.
or not next season, the following.
Samaseco, I think, is the player you were trying to
Yeah,
pronounce earlier.
you're right.
But yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, it was great to see Brooklyn get finally break into the first team as we were hoping for, and finally play a good chunk of minutes. And obviously, we saw the growth in him. He made a major leap last season, and really, helped. And obviously, losing 2/3 of our midfield last year with the loss of with the departures of Coco and Ache, Brooklyn really came in and stepped in and did his thing, and obviously he did his thing at international level as well, but the U20s and that group, whatever. So that brought a lot of exposure to him, and he scored some goals with that youth squad as well. So it's great to see. Obviously you hate to lose a young talent like that, but obviously this is a business where players come and players go, and you're always trying to improve, and the thing is, um, the Dynamo just need more, I think, more win now players, and obviously we'll get to that here in a bit as far as
1.6 is a lot of money you need right now to
yeah,
do
yeah, for
that
sure, for
right
sure,
now.
for sure. And that's the whole thing about the homegrowns. They're cheap prospects that you bring in. That they go through your academy and or MLS Next clubs, and in this case, obviously, Brooklyn has been back and forth with MLS with Dynamo Dos in our first team, and obviously he didn't cost us a lot to bring in, and obviously we're making a nice little profit on him, and obviously I'm sure that Pat in the front office is going to use that money to go into the piggy bank for this offseason and for the future players that are going to be brought in this offseason. So we'll see what happens. But another transaction
Because of
happened.
the sell, he becomes a U22 for New England now because of that sell. We didn't
Yeah,
have to use the U22 on him, but because of the sell, I think they have to use the U22 on him now. But that's a U22 initiative for Brooklyn Reigns. So
and and
good for
and,
him.
and what's interesting, to be honest, I think that the way the thing was structured with the 1.4 and the 600K coming in as incentive base, it also separates him from being a DP player, I guess. I don't know
Well,
how.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So obviously it's always different mechanisms or different things. What's going on, Rodriguez? What's going on, Dago? Appreciate you checking in
Chicago.
on the chat, guys. Appreciate you. Welcome in, guys. Thank you for spending some time with us and eating these noodles. But obviously yesterday another transaction happened as well. Another mechanism that's alive and well. The MLS expands a reentry draft. I'm sorry, stage one, and the first pick was nephew Gabe Siegel is going to DC United. Well, not technically. They have the rights to offer him a legit contract to basically sign him away from the Dynamo, and if he does agree with it, obviously he will go to DC United. But if he doesn't, he goes back into the free agent pool, and he can be selected in the second stage. I'm guessing, or not be selected and just be a straight free agent and decide where he wants to go. But obviously, one of the main reasons why I think Pat and Ashford made the decision today to get into the first round and select the kid that they selected today as a striker, because obviously we're running a little thin on that side because we're not sure who's gonna back up Ezekiel Ponce this year. Obviously we'll see what happens with that. Obviously the offseason it's young and still fresh, and and they have a lot of time to fill that void. But obviously Gabe Siegel, who was one of the backups to Ezekiel Ponce, has left as free agent, and obviously DC United has decided to take the rights to be exclusive to negotiate a contract with him, and we'll see if it happens. So we'll see what happens. Your thoughts
Hey,
on
they
Gabe Siegel?
traded they traded Benteke for Gabe Siegel, so good for them.
I mean, they brought in Philadelphia as a tie by Badi, who scored I think 17 goals in MLS last season. There's really international. So I think maybe they're planning to use him as the backup to him. Tari Badibayo, one of those DPs that Philadelphia had last season.
Right.
So but obviously DC United going away from Benteke and him being a one of those always constant golden boot contenders, for him to leave DC United obviously left a huge hole in their attacking prowess. So DC United making moves to alleviate that loss. Any thoughts on nephew and the loss of him? What's
Nah,
your
man, I ain't gonna miss him. I'm glad he scored 3 goals against New York, but he didn't do nothing. He doesn't belong here. We still have, is Toyosa gonna come back and be a part of us? Or are we gonna loan him out or sell him again? And like you said, who's gonna be Ponce's backup? But right now, nobody stands there. Nobody. I mean, sorry, nephew, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he's the East Coast guy. Came up in the New York City FC academy, so maybe going back a little bit closer to home. So
Love his energy though.
yeah. So we'll see what happens. But good luck to Gabe Siegel, and we appreciate the time that you came in with us. And like you said, who knows? Maybe Toyosi comes back from England and gets that backup spot. Maybe
Uh-huh.
Sergio Santos, gets a look see. Maybe the kid that we just drafted today blows it out the water and preseason, and who knows. But like I said, it's early in the game, guys. A lot of things can happen, but obviously the front office is really busy with departures and arrivals and stuff like that. But obviously the big news that we've been hearing, the rumors, nothing official yet, guys. So I mean, obviously, it's just whispers out there, but from two credible sources. For those who know Cesar Luis Melo, he's kind of like the Favazio of South American football, or the Tom Berger of South American football, as far as transfers and rumors and stuff like that. But he has stated that Agustin Bozat, central defensive midfielder for Vélez, a club in Argentina, is scheduled to sign with the Dynamo here pretty soon. How soon? We don't know. But from the looks of it, everything is pretty much done, set, sealed, and set and sealed. Just needs to be delivered. I'm not sure when they're going to announce it, but everything seems to be good, and he should be named the Dynamo player here pretty soon. Um, OSG. I don't know if you have any, if you had any opportunities to look over him, or to research him during this time period. Obviously, since he's been rumored to, since he's been linked to us. Uh, any thoughts on Augustine and what he can bring to the Dynamo as far as a defensive mid?
A 31-year-old Argentinian left footer CDM with Reigns on the outs is coming up to shore up behind Arthur, or with Arthur, next to Arthur, if Asher stands true to what he was selling at a Chalk Talk, and the formation changing a little bit, and we doing a 3-4-3 sort of, or a 3-4-2-1, or whatever the hell they want to call it. But nothing special with Bozat. He's a good player. There's some good talent there, but doesn't spread the needle to where do I feel, is he going to put us over the line to make us a playoff team? No. It's a solid player though. Is it a pickup better than Reigns? Experience? Yes, I guess so. So a lot of potential with Reigns, and Bozat, like I said, is 31 already. So come in,
Yeah,
secure
I
the
mean,
place. Arthur
yeah,
was. We didn't know we were going to get with Arthur, and he turned out extra.
yeah. I mean, it's just one of those guys who obviously they're looking for guys with winning mentalities who are as far as team guys who can
Right,
build chemistry, right? And he's
locker
obviously
room guy.
and he's been the captain for Velez the last 2-3 years. He's lifted a couple of titles with those guys as well. So somebody who has a winning mentality, who knows how to captain a squad, and obviously he's going to bring hopefully a winning mentality and a grit, that grit that's needed to help push the Dynamo over. Because I mean, obviously, look, we all get excited at the possibilities of big name European players coming in as DPs and stuff like that. But obviously, for all the Messis and all the Sons and all the Muellers that come in, obviously you have to have the Evanders and the Costas and stuff like that, and things of that nature, where you're building out your foundation of your club, and you need those type of players, to come in and really set the tone for your club and have that structure and be that strong backbone to help bring in that DP that takes you to the next level. You can't really put the whole thing on just one player that makes 7 million a year and expect them to just come in and score 40 goals and lead you to a
Right.
cup.
Of course.
But yeah, Dago says Argentinian fans describe him as a Hector Herrera type of player, and which obviously, look, man, I was always one critical of the dismissal of Hector Herrera, but it was done, and obviously we saw how much the defense, the midfield was without him, and to lose that type of player, it's with that type of vision and just natural talent like Ache Ache had, it was a big blow for the Dynamo, and hopefully, I'm not saying Borsad is at that same level, but I mean, hopefully he's able to bring something similar or something even better, or a better, different version of what Ache Ache brought us. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's obviously nothing set in stone yet. It's still a rumor. It's still nothing has the ink hasn't dried, like people say. The T's haven't been crossed and the I's haven't been dotted yet. So allegedly, Agustin Busat will be a Dynamo player here in the next few coming days, maybe week or so before the new year. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe he's wrapped up for Christmas for us. Who knows?
Hey, I'm for it though. I'm for it though. Let's see what he can do. Come in here and be a part of this culture we're trying to build. Hopefully, Ben's trying to build.
Yeah, like I said in the chat, they say there's still time to write to Santa to ask for players for the Dynamo. Yeah, I'm writing. I'm writing. I mean, I have I have one Argentine player in particular that I would love for Santa to bring over to the Dynamo, but we'll see. But he isn't the only one. He isn't the only one rumored to be coming to the Dynamo. And this is an attacking player, a winger, which we all know we've needed the
Oh,
last couple of years. Uh, yeah, Guilherme from Santos, who has helped the legendary club in Brazil avoid relegation this season with a phenomenal last 3 games, who played alongside world-renowned global superstar Neymar, and helped Santos not be relegated and stay up.
the build up and then to say not relegated. You played next to Neymar, and then you're like, you weren't relegated.
It's kind of crazy, man. Like, obviously Santos is one of the biggest clubs on this side of the hemisphere, and obviously with a lot of historical players that played there, Brazilian players as far as like Pele and Neymar and things of that nature. To hear that they almost got relegated this season is just wild. It just goes to show the power shift and that league's cycle. With clubs like Palmeiras and Flamengo doing big things. And the old giants like Vasco and Santos are kind of like faltering for some reason, or whatever the reason is. But with that being
And
said,
Mark, their last game, who was the player of the game? It wasn't Neymar, was it?
it was not. It was not.
Who was the player of the game for that game? Scored a brace.
You get ahead of me.
It was.
There you go. So
Scored a freaking brace.
maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back and finally made Pat decide. You know what? I want a winger for Santos. It would have been great had it been Neymar, but he said nope. Neymar didn't do enough. Neymar doesn't do enough. You heard me? Come to Houston, baby.
Right. Got you. Hey, this dude's 30-year-old Brazilian left winger, but he's had an immaculate 3 years. He's resourceful. He's played 48, 46, and 49 games in the past 3 years, scoring 14, 13, and 10 goals, 9, 10, and 6 assists through each year the past 3 seasons.
There you go.
He's having a good year, man. So he's coming in according as a DP. But he's a DP like Linger before y'all throw y'all's you start pulling your hair out. He's a DP like Linger where he can be bought down at any minute during the season. It's more resourceful to make him a DP at this point. And then when we need that DP, he can be bought down and we can use that DP later. And we're saving a DP for later during the summer anyway as well. But
for sure.
I like him, man. I like him. He's okay. I just wish he wasn't a DP, but
I mean, it's like you said. I mean, it's one of those. He's a DP by name only for
right.
So it's the Linger type deal that we had from last season. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, obviously him doing a great job in the Brazilian league, and obviously you mentioned the stats for the last couple of years. And hopefully he can bring that, and hopefully he's the provider that Ponce needs to help open up his scoring, and open up what he needs done to be a more successful number nine, and obviously, as far as him being the left winger, you're obviously looking at the right. Who's going to be on the right? Will it be Alani? Will it be Quiones? Will it be somebody else? I mean, like I said, we still have the P spots open. Linger seems to be settled into that quote unquote number 10 spot that's not really there, but is there, and whatever. So we'll see what happens with him. As far as that goes as well, because I think Linger is one of those players that we're gonna be heavily hoping can make a huge jump from one year to the other, because I mean, he has the accolades too. He's a national team player. And just unfortunately for him, he came in with such a hot start and it just kind of faded off with everybody else on the club, and kind of one of the reasons why the club wasn't as successful as we hoped it to be. But yeah, man, I mean, we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, like I said, you want to bring in players who are very capable, and have that mentality of never giving up, which in this case, obviously, Guilherme and that Santos team didn't give up, man. They were on the cusp of being demoted, and thankfully for them, and thankfully for the club, they were able to avoid that. Um, Linger and Ponce need to step up next season. Most definitely. I couldn't agree more with that. I mean,
1,000%.
obviously, especially with the Ponce, obviously I think the fan base is 50-50 on Ponce. Obviously I'm on the half of where I think that it's not all Ponce's fault. I think Ponce has the capabilities of being a 20 goal plus goal scorer if he had service and help. But I mean, obviously we'll see what happens with that, and we'll see what Asher and Pat have on their sleeves to help him achieve that. Because at the end of the day, it's not fair to judge a number nine when he's going against two, three, four defenders all by himself in the box. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, OSG, any other thoughts on Borzat or Guillermes? And what do you, and your thoughts, and what do you think the possibilities could be with these two guys coming in?
Look, I know that we know he's a left winger. He's a winger type, and we're hearing that the formation might change a little bit, which means that we might need a right winger in actual essence. We seen a depth chart by Asher where it had Griffin Dorsey as the right winger, not the right back. Ciacinco was the right back. Juan Carlos was the center back, and then Andrade was the left back. Don't know. I was not at that chalk talk, so I can't give you verbatim what Asher said. All I can say is I saw the clip of the 3-4-3, basically a three with a four box, and then two wingers, and your Ponce is your striker. Adding more attack into it, and you're going out and you're getting a lot of attacking style players. So I'm hoping that's so friggin' damn true, which means Guillermo will fit. You still have Quinones, which people still have to question, is Quinones ready or not? We don't
So
know. We'll find out. A Nolly is a Nolly. How long are we going to be able to keep him? So I'm good with this move. You can buy him down, so it's safe move. If he plays like he's been playing in Brazil, bring it the friggin' on. Hopefully he can turn it up in the MLS. It's gonna be tougher.
yeah, well, it looks from the picture that you see that you're mentioning as far as the chalk top, it looks like a three like I'm sorry, like a 3-2-4-1 formation.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so it would be three center backs in the back, two DMs, so essentially five defenders, and obviously I think when you look at that formation, it looks super heavy as defensive, but when you put two sixes like the way this formation is looked on here, I wish we had a picture to put on the screen so everybody can see. But uh,
Right. Because Andrade is going to push up on that left side right there, and
yeah,
then you got
yeah,
Carlos and Piacinco. So it's going to be a four box in that bed. We're going to be struggling on the wings.
yeah, but I mean, but maybe just on maybe you don't focus so much on having like the before where it was like Escobar and Dorsey would move up as like wing backs or whatever to be involved with the offense. I think Andrade does well as far as like set pieces, but I don't think he's one of those that pushes up like that. Like Escobar would on the left from the last
Right.
couple of
Yeah.
seasons. and I think Arthur is obviously that defensive anchor, and then Bosa from his style of play, obviously he would be defensive if need be, but he would be the first point as far as the attack goes, as far as moving up. He's that 6'8" player, like he's that he's that box to box type, so technically a number 8. I'm assuming his role would be, but yeah, but obviously more offensive firepower with the looks of like Linger being on there, McGlynn, and then obviously the wingers, which at this case is at this point right now is Inali, and you mentioned Dorsey, which would be which we all forget that Dorsey actually was an offensive player when he first signed with the Dynamo, when he first came over from Toronto. But I forgot who was it? Was it Tab, or was it who transitioned him over to right back?
Right. Well, yeah, it was. No, was it Tab or Naga?
I think it was Tab. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and he's done really well as a right back. A right wing back. To be honest, he brought that offensive prowess from the back, and was able to make those long runs and be able to cross the ball in and score a couple goals and get a couple assists throughout the year. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not too sold as Griffin Dorsey being my starting right winger, but obviously Griffin is a fan favorite. He is the longest tenured Dynamo. So I
That's
mean,
where Guillermo comes in.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. People got mad about Guilherme at first because of his age. The thing, like I said, I mean, same thing with Borsa at 31 years old. Guilherme is what, 30, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're looking for more experience, ready to win now players. I think obviously the 2 years that we had where when Achacha came in and stuff like that, and we were back to back playoffs, lifting the US Open Cup and things of that nature, we were a team that was kind of a dark horse MLS Cup contender. Obviously, we made it to the Western Conference Finals, and I think we only lost by 1 goal to LAFC, who were the eventual champions of that year, if I'm not mistaken. Um, we want to return to that level, and hopefully whatever players we add, we're able to progress and take us to the next level, which obviously that next level would be making it to MLS Cup. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, the thing with older players is that can they handle the hot days? Can they fit? Not well, but the thing is, like, you got to remember that's only this season. I mean, the calendar's changing. We're not gonna be fighting the 100-degree weathers and other stuff. I mean, obviously, this summer is gonna be the World Cup, so they're not gonna be playing too much during the summer, as far as battling the heat waves and the humidity of Houston. And then obviously the calendar change is gonna happen pretty soon, and we're gonna be going into the FIFA calendar, and it's gonna be a different
New
look.
divisions as well.
So we'll be playing in pretty nice weather from here on out, and that whole home field advantage that we used to have of sweating everybody out is no longer going to be there.
Hey, the playoffs will be in May.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, Jeff makes a good point. I mean, obviously this it's this season and not seasons ahead of time, But I mean, obviously, look, I think a player who comes from Brazil, I mean, Brazil is a humid country too. I mean, there's a lot. It's hot down there
Right,
as well.
right.
So I
They
mean,
have anacondas.
yeah, it's not too much of a difference. I mean, I think it wasn't a surprise that a lot of the South American clubs who competed in the Club World Cup were able to do so well this year and they were able to maintain better than the European clubs, obviously, because they're used to kind of playing in this type of weather. I mean, obviously not as excessive as it is in Houston, but they're used to it, you know. So, but we'll see. I mean, they got
Yeah. Mark, what's the temperature going to be on Christmas Day this year? What
the temper. Well, all I know is I'm gonna be out there in shorts and sandals, man. So I mean, we'll see what.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll
Hey,
see.
looking forward to it. It's going to be better and it's going to be funner though. And then no 112 temperature degree games, and we're tailgating, looking for that 10 by 10 tent space.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, it'll be interesting. But like I said, I mean, the good thing about those two is that they're brought in. It looks like they're going to be brought in early, so they'll have a full off season with the club to get acclimated and to get the chemistry built with the other players and stuff like that. None of that last minute stuff, that happened last season, and we're trying to scramble to bring in some type of player with some type of profile to helpfully help with some kind of miracle to help make something out of that season. I think the
Yeah.
front office saw that that was the wrong way to go about that and that have that approach. But we'll see what happens. OSG, anything else you want to add to this about those two players before we move on?
Nah, man, they're all good. Let's just get them in here, like you said, and let's get them in here soon. It's been a minute since we've heard about the rumor. Usually, the Dynamo are pretty quick when the rumor's pretty true. So, what's the holdup? Let's get it done and get them in here. Go ahead and ship Brooklyn Reigns off and get that done, and let's move on as we're getting ready for this season.
For sure, man. And it just brings more hype as from a fan base. To see these these transactions, these transactions start to come in. Not just for us, but for the
They're not
league.
Miami transactions, but
Not just for us, but for the league overall. I mean, it's obviously we know Miami won MLS Cup and stuff like that, but obviously the offseason is the start of a new season where everybody starts off 0-0, and it's a new hope has arisen, and obviously we're hoping that the front office and the Dynamo are able to get the players needed to take us back to the playoffs and hopefully make some type of run. Not only in MLS, but obviously, like I mentioned, we have U.S. Open Cup play, to worry about as well. And that's one of those trophies that I always enjoy being able to see the Dynamo compete in and obviously lift like we've done in two times. Dago says, "Do you guys think Dynamo will sign a real DP since we have a third spot available?" You know what, Dago? You must have read our minds because thank you for the segue. We were going to talk about the next wave of huge European stars that are being linked to MLS to come this offseason. So, OSG, obviously, I think at the last iteration of our Noodle time, we spoke about what would be the dream DP signing for the Dynamo in your situation in your mind if you were able to if you played GM, who would you sign and stuff like that, and obviously it's great to see the players mentioned, that have been mentioned and rumored. Obviously we're hearing a lot about Lewandowski linked to Miami or Chicago.
oh, yeah.
Timo Timo Werner, linked to Chicago, linked to Miami, or there's the two other MLS clubs I think that are interested in them, and obviously he's currently in Leipzig, and obviously their sister club is New York Red Bulls, so that could be a possibility for those guys. Players like Griezmann, who obviously he's been one of those players who's outright said, I want to finish my career in MLS. I love the American culture. I want to go out there. I want to go help to grow the game. Now, where does he do it? Who knows? A lot,
Win.
obviously, a lot of people, are gonna say Miami because of the whole, Messi option. You got he can go to LAFC and play with with his counterpart and Hugo Lloris, or he can go to one of the New York teams, obviously big market like that, and with a player like that of that caliber is always welcomed. Seattle always seems to be a club that's always interested in bringing somebody in, especially when their Cascadia counterparts have signed a player like Thomas Mueller to play against them. Who knows? But with all that being said, what about our hometown Dynamo? You know, Hector Herrera was such a impact signing a couple of years back. That brought such a big how do you want to call it was
Aura.
was such, a, was such a big moment in club history, you know, to bring a player of that caliber with those accomplishments, and to be our captain and be our, to be honest, our first true DP signing, of that caliber. So obviously he came and went. He helped us win a U.S. Open Cup, like I mentioned, 2 playoff appearances, a Western Conference appearance. So obviously Ache cemented his spot in Dynamo history for the short time that he was here. But what now? What's next? What's next? Like I said, Miami just won MLS Cup. One with Messi, Suarez, Alba, the Paul, Busquets. Vancouver, the finalists, Thomas Mueller, you know, world class players. Are the Dynamo ever going to get into that bag again and go out there and get that high level player? And if so, OSG, is this the time to do it? I mean, is this really the time to do it? And if it is, who would be that player, that transitional player that would most definitely make the Dynamo um, maybe a dark horse MLS Cup contender or a potential true MLS Cup contender.
There's all kinds of players that can come out of Europe that are at the end of their prime and can move to the MLS and become in their prime once again, even though they're elder. And can the Houston be in that race? They showed that they could do it with Herrera before, not really before, but kind of in the middle of all this other racing and everything. Can we do it? Can we draw a player that caliber? Is Pat willing to get that extravagant? I don't know if Pat is willing to get that extravagant. Can Houston lure a player like that? I think Houston can. We just got to be able to just go out and find that player that it wants to come to Houston and live in this part of the town. You've got to sell it to them, and I think we can. Is there somebody out there? Yes, there is, and the type of players that are coming, they're just left and right because some of these players you don't hear about until unless you're Griezmann and just announcing it like I'm coming to the MLS at some point. I just don't know when, and I'm gonna keep playing y'all until I decide I'm going to the MLS. But man, there's players that just that fall out. Like I follow Man City. You follow Arsenal. There's players that have been a part of that club for a whole minute, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Kevin De Bruyne moved to Italy, hasn't really done anything over there, so good move, right? Bernardo Silva is one that plays every day for Man City, but he's on his way out the door. Is he one that would like to come over here? I doubt that, but it's just a name. I think we can, but I'm not hopeful, and we'll wait until the day that the rumor comes up of a player of that caliber. As far as Doggo answered, I don't think we're doing any DP this window. I think the DP comes in the summer, and then after that, the season changes, and then we're good after that. But we're going to have to be patient right now unless somebody pops up at our window that we're not expecting.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky because obviously this excuse me, the winter window for MLS right now. Obviously, you're not playing any games. The winter transfer window for European clubs and every other league in the world, they're playing games. So if say for example, just for example, using the Lewandowski situation with Chicago, if Lewandowski were to say, you know what, I'm done with Barcelona, I'm going to go to Chicago. Um, Barcelona would then, I guess, I don't know, would they want to keep him till the end of the season and then and then let him join Chicago while they're in the middle of their season, or would Chicago want Lewandowski to be there for the start of their preseason to get acclimated, But then again, Lewandowski, if Poland makes the World Cup, he wants to have as many matches ready and be match fit because obviously the World Cup is coming up and he wants to be in the best shape of his possibly for him so he can help his country perform at the World Cup as well. So um, it's a tough situation, and that's why like a lot of players come over and during the summer, like last year, we had Mueller come in for Vancouver. we had Sonny Boy come in for LAFC, who
Yep.
made a big difference for those two clubs respectfully, made a huge impact for those two clubs. And players, to be honest, that obviously Mueller being a little bit older, you know, was able to make them take Vancouver to another level. They were kind of drifting a little bit, but then he comes in and he gives them that extra boost.
Get them
Um,
to the final.
yeah, for sure. And then Son, son, to be honest, it was a surprising signing to me, which just goes to show
Yeah, yeah.
when you gotta go knock these doors. You gotta go talk to these players. Yeah. I mean, obviously, he just came off winning the Europa League with Spurs and ended Spurs trophyless drought of over a decade or whatever it was.
A
And
thousand
so
years.
yeah, 1,000 years, and he decided, he decides, you know what, I want to go to America, I want to go to America, and LA is a big town, a big city, and LAFC is an ambitious club that wants to play for trophies and stuff like that, and obviously, unfortunately for him, he hasn't had that career where he's lifted a lot of trophies. We know how talented he is, and I'm pretty sure he can continue to play in Europe if he had he so decided to continue playing in Europe. But like I said, he wanted a new adventure, and look how much of the Asian market he brought in. For not just for MLS, but for LAFC. You know, and he didn't come free. LAFC paid a pretty penny for him, almost 20 mil in transfer fee. But I mean, but at the end of the day, it was worth it. It
Hey,
sold a
he's
lot of.
benefiting. He's making money. He's getting the hype. He's getting the marketing. He's getting the whatever it is when you're the commercials and all that good stuff. And you know what? Good
Sure.
for them. And they're about to be a rival for our of ours. So look forward to kicking Son's ass every year as long as he's here.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in the end. But yeah, man. So I mean, I mean, for me, honestly, there's one player that I've been looking at, and
Ooh,
it's and
ooh,
it's
ooh,
and
ooh.
it seems perfect, almost too perfect. So and in life, when things seem too good to be true, normally they are. And in this case, I think that's going to be one of those situations. But if it were to happen, man, this is playing out perfectly for the Dynamo, because not only would this player be available on a free, but he is a high profile player, a World Cup winner, a champion in Italy, you know, um, uh, one would say a Juventus legend, um, just won the World Cup with Argentina, and obviously I'm talking about Roma's Paulo Dybala, a goal scorer, a playmaker, somebody who obviously coming to this side of the hemisphere brings him closer to Argentina and his family, a new adventure. Obviously, he knows his counterparts are over here, like Messi. Obviously, Correa and Tigres is playing over there. And other Thiago Almada has played here, who's with our Atletico Madrid right now. A lot of Argentine players have come to MLS, and played really well, and gone on to go to bigger clubs in Europe. But obviously, he's on the other side of 30. It would be a great opportunity, and that would be a fantastic signing in my opinion. That would be, Ache Ache on steroids, you
Yeah.
know. But
But
obviously,
forget equal Pontier.
but obviously, I can dream, I can hope. If that were to be the case, I would be right there, first in line to buy my Dybala Dynamo jersey, both home and away. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of the guys in the chat, OSG, I'm sure you would. The whole Foxtrot family probably would. I mean, that would be such a high profile signing for the Dynamo, which would help not only on the pitch but off the pitch as well. The
That
global
would
expo
that would be dope.
that would be dope. The global exposure, and just that, man. I mean, like, if you guys haven't had the opportunity to watch Dybala play throughout his career in Serie A with Palameros, Juventus, Roma, and those guys. I mean, he's one of those players. He's one of those cult, those like, like you got those movies that are like not necessarily classic movies, but they're cult classics. Like, he's the streets will never forget Paulo Dybala. The streets will never forget Paulo Dybala. You know, um, The unfortunate for him in his international career is that he plays the same position as Messi, and obviously you're never going to get ahead of Messi. Messi is the greatest of all time, but I mean, but he has the talent and the capabilities and the
Exactly what
profile
we need.
and the profile, the smile, the smile, the McGlynn does the two, he does the one, 1, 2, let's do it, man. Let's get it together. Let's get it together. It
Hey,
would, it
I'm
would
ready for it. I'm down for it, man. If it, that it would be the perfect fit too. But that would be a damn splash. And whew,
can,
maybe that's
can,
not we're
get,
not. Yeah. All
can
right,
some
dream on, brother. Make it manifest it during your
can, some-
dreams. You never know.
can
Miracles
somebody
can happen.
can somebody get me Asher and Pat's emails? I can just email bomb them. Just hey, Paulo, every day I'll send them an email. Paulo Dybala, Paulo Dybala, Paulo Dybala, Paulo Dybala.
Got Asher on X. Hey, you never know. 3-1 Atlas could be a wishing stone. So let's just
For
wait.
sure, for sure. But yeah, guys. Before we go, one last thing. Obviously, a lot of changes coming for the MLS. Obviously, we just mentioned the MLS going into the FIFA window, FIFA calendar, which a lot of people have been hoping it to be coming. It's coming. It'll happen after the World Cup and things of that nature. There will be a shortened season for MLS to crown. I think the 2026 or is it 2027 champion? I'm not sure. I have to look at that. I have to look that up. But with that being said, there's going to be no more conferences. It's going to be divisions. You know, and the rumored division that we're going to be a part of, it's going to be the Texas California division, which will include us, of course, Austin, Frisco, the two LA teams, LAFC and LA Galaxy, and San Diego FC. Um, OSG for just from the just from the looks of it. Your thoughts on the proposed division that Dino will be included in, and your thoughts just on the overall positioning of the clubs in the divisions that are being supposedly told.
Look, I like it. I don't know how they're going to do playoffs yet, as far as how people get out of the divisions to the playoffs and how they'll seed it. But I like it because, like you said, it's 5 divisions of 6 teams. So you're playing everybody twice in your division. That's 10 games. That leaves 24 teams. You're playing everybody once. So you're playing everybody in the league once in your own division twice. That's 34 games. You get to meet everybody. You're just not getting home and away of everybody. So now you get to play everybody once in every league. It's a single table too. It's not a Western Conference and Eastern Conference like you said. So I like it better. So it could be Miami as the 1 seed versus Houston as the 16 seed by chance, and you're playing your former Eastern Conference in the first round. So I like it. It's going to be interesting. And as you said, the rumor, that's what everybody was anticipating. That's what the rumors are, is we'll get the LA's. And then San Jose is going to get moved north with the Seattle and Portland. And then they're going to get Salt Lake and Denver and that one with Vancouver as well. So curious. I like it. I want to see it when it's done, but I'm with it. I'm good for it. Looking forward to it. You still got all our rivals. I might miss SKC a little bit, but that's okay. We've been building this rival against LA for a long time, against the Galaxy for a long time. So I'm okay with that replacement, man. We haven't played SKC in a title before. We played the Galaxy before. So I'm going to keep that rivalry for damn sure.
Yeah, obviously being the last two clubs that were owned by AAG, and obviously them always being the proposed big brother because all the DPs would go to LA Galaxy and we would get like the small little DPs when they first came out, and we were still able to make it to MLS Cup finals alongside with them. Unfortunately, we weren't able to win one, but I mean we were able to get as far as they did. But yeah, man, it's an interesting concept. A lot of big changes coming for MLS. A lot of big improvements, which I think will elevate the league and stuff like that and help them out. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. Obviously, keeping the Texas rivalries, and then obviously including the California clubs as far as like LAFC, Galaxy, like you mentioned, and San Diego FC, which obviously we've had some fantastic games with San Diego being their first year of expansion. We had 2 great games against those guys, so maybe that'll continue for us as well. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm super. I'm ecstatic. I have better. I feel better about this offseason than prior. You know, it's just the way last offseason started with the whole Spitgate, and then Achachi being let go like 2 days later. It just didn't sit well with me. And then Coco, and then obviously losing Coco, and then Mikael being sold. Just it was a lot. This season seems a little different. Seems more optimistic. I feel more confident. I feel more positivity. And I like the fact
Well,
that
you're not losing your 3 main stars either. You're losing Brooklyn Reigns.
well, yeah, I mean, but at the same time, the rumors are coming in earlier, man. Like, we're
Yeah,
actually like we're having players that are gonna be ready for the start of preseason, for the start of training camp. Not the end. Not trying to see where we're gonna put them. Not coming in on the third game of the of
right.
regular season. Things like that. So things are happening the way they're supposed to, and I just want to give a round of applause to Pat and those guys right now. I mean, obviously, like I said, nothing is finalized yet. So I mean, obviously, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but from the way things are looking, they're moving quicker than what they did last year. So that's a plus in itself. So yeah, G Money agrees with me, Giuseppe. We're moving earlier, so that's a win. Hey, of course, you can't procrastinate, man. You have to know what you want, and you have to go. You have to be willing to go out there and get it. So that's the winning mentality. You have to know the profile player that you're looking for, identify that player, and you have to go get them.
Hey, Mark, a
So
lot going on with the draft, free agency, transfers, everything going on right now, and Houston's involved in all of it at the same time. So it's good to see that we're not
yes,
just
sir.
putting something off to the side because we got to focus on something else. So that's a bonus too as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So with that being said, guys, obviously, thank you guys for the support in 2025. We're hoping for a bigger 2026. Obviously, a lot more noodles, a lot more foxtrot, a lot of different, things. Dash dispatch, obviously with OSG, noodle time with myself, Dynamico with our Spanish version with we'll see who does that. Cesspool, Andres, shout out to those guys as well. OSG, I'm gonna give you the reins of Andres. Hopefully you can do him well. Let the people
I
know where they can
definitely
find you.
can. It's not going to take 5 minutes, brother. But hey, real quick to answer Doggo, man, the Alan Sadivia, 3 years running with the rumors. So we kind of look it over and just forget about it. That's kind of why we just kind of forgot about it right now. Not to disclude you and not ignore your question, but need to see more structure between that rumor before we even want to talk about that rumor. Be a good player to come here and look forward to that player, and hopefully one day that could happen. How many more years? I don't know. But to answer Mark's question, man, to follow us, it is Dynamic Foxtrot. That is a handle on any social media outlet that you're looking at. IG, X, Blue Sky, even. I'm not sure about the Blue Sky, how much that active is, but the Dynamic Foxtrot. Foxtrot TV on YouTube. That's where you're listening live or watching live right now. Please watch and listen, share all that good stuff. Look at what Mark's showing out right there. Ooh, 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 got a good card right there. But
That's
you got
that's who I
Noodle
want.
Tempio on X. What is it, Mark?
That's who I want. Paulo Dybala.
Ooh, ooh, it's coming. It's coming. Mark is manifesting it. He's asking the dream catcher tonight whenever he falls asleep for for, for that wish. But like I said, I dynamic Foxtrot. Any platform where you listen to your podcast, you will be able to listen to Noodle Time and anything else that Dynamic Foxtrot puts out there. Foxtrot Media is here for you. We're gonna keep it going. Listen, share, subscribe.
Guys, see you in 2026. Have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and hey, hopefully we get Mikael back from Palmeiras, maybe. All
Another Christmas present.
right, guys, y'all have a good one. We appreciate it, and like you always know, 2H is up. Hold it down for H Town all the time. Forever
Let's go.
Orange. Go Dynamo. Go Dash. Go Dynados. Let's go Houston.
Let's go.